Hi, I'm Rebekah Reysen here with Jeremy Roberts, and we'd like to welcome you to the Chit Chat. Today, we have a very special guest named Dr. Patrick Perry. Let me tell you a little bit more about Dr. Perry. Dr. Perry currently serves as the director of the Lucky Day program. Prior to his time at the University of Mississippi, Dr. Perry worked in financial aid and scholarships, the honors program, and University College at the University of Memphis. He earned his Bachelor of Arts degree in geography, Master of Science and Doctorate of Higher and Adult Education from the University of Memphis. Dr. Perry is a member of the National Scholarship Providers Association and serves on numerous university and community committees. Dr. Perry enjoys working with students to identify ways to build community among Lucky Day scholars. In his spare time, Dr. Perry enjoys tennis, hiking, planting flowers and vegetables, volunteering in the community, and watching movies with his family. Good to see you, Dr. Perry. Welcome to the show.
Good to be here. Thank y'all for having me today.
Sure. Well, we're excited to chat with you. And our first question is getting to know a little bit more about you. So tell us about yourself and how you got started in the field of higher education.
I am originally from Memphis, Tennessee, and graduated from the University of Memphis with an undergraduate degree in it was actually geography and with a focus on environmental and earth science. I studied a lot of groundwater as an undergraduate. I had the benefit of doing some work with the United States Geological Survey out of the Agri Center in Memphis, a research area, and worked with a professor through that. Really enjoyed that as an undergraduate, but I was able to get a job while I was an undergraduate as a student employee at the university working with adult students. And I had an advisor that worked with students in higher education to help them design degrees where they took experience and combined it with their coursework to make degrees. And so it kind of it became something that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed working with students, especially at that time with adult students, as they were trying to earn their bachelor's degrees. And the advisor was kind enough to take me under her wing and say, I think you would be a good advisor, counselor type thing. And so that kind of got me into higher education. I investigated a little bit, started in counseling, but moved more towards higher ed administration. I was able to kind of blend the counseling roles of higher education professionals with the administrative part. And that was really neat. Like I said, that's my start in higher ed.
Okay. So, working with the Lucky Day program here on campus, could you tell us kind of how it started, what you do in the program, and how do students apply for this program?
The Lucky Day program is a scholarship program, but a lot more than that. We have students that are selected for the scholarship that are from the state of Mississippi, and they apply through the university's scholarship application process. They will apply for Lucky Day specifically, though, and as long as they're from the state of Mississippi and have a 3.0 to a 4.0 grade point average, they may apply for the competitive scholarship. We award 80 per year, and we're seeking students that are very interested in four connected areas that we really focus on, and those are academics, obviously, in college, but also the community of the Lucky Day program, service, and leadership, and specifically servant leadership. And one of the things that we want students to be able to do when they get here is to thrive academically, but through service to engage not only with the Oxford Lafayette community, but with their home communities as well. Frank Day is the person, the benefactor for the Lucky Day program. And so the Lucky Day Foundation, he passed away in 1999, but the foundation has continued his philanthropy interest by setting up the scholarships at the University of Mississippi, at Southern Mississippi, and at Mississippi State. And so there are scholarships at those schools too. And so we engage in working with our scholars, again, to pursue academics, but then also to engage, again, in those other areas as well. Frank Day was very thoughtful, very interested in students in the state of Mississippi, and scholarships for them to support their education. I think one of the things that is y'all know is that college costs are going up, being able to pay for everything in college. And so this is a part of that. And our scholars are amazing. They get involved in so much on campus. They're leaders. They receive awards, scholarships nationally competitive. We recently have had students that have won the Barry Goldwater National Scholarship, and we've had just so much success with our students that have, just done great things, and just glad to be a part of that.
So in your experience, how can a student become successful in college?
I think the work ethic, and I will say that perseverance. The challenges in college are so different than in high school, and so being able to have that passion and perseverance, which is the definition really of grit. And I know we talk about grit a lot, but more importantly, identifying areas in which they really want to live their life doing. And that's tough, because a lot of times we lock ourselves into certain things. My undergrad was in geography, for instance. I'm not in geography, right? So, but I found passion working with adult students and working in a higher education setting. And so, sometimes I think there's a lot of pressure to kind of figure that out early. It took me a little while, and I don't know about you all. I hope that it didn't take you as long as it took me, but sometimes it takes a while to figure out where your passion and your drive is going to make you successful. And every day I get up, I'm excited, because I'm like, okay, I've been doing this a long time, but I'm like, I'm ready to talk to the new students that are coming in this year. I'm ready to, find out what they're like, what they're doing, how we can connect them to resources to be successful. There are a lot of things with that. And I think students finding that and being able to be patient and persevere to get there, and that's tough sometimes. I think we live in a world where we want that answer right now. And for us to provide that support where we can go, I can pause and kind of go, this is what I'm really interested in. And I am a firm believer that if you're interested in something, that you can pursue that, and you can live doing that. You just have to kind of do a lot of work on your own and then make those connections. That's a lot of answer probably for you. And I don't know if I got at it, but it's, a lot of different things. A college campus can be scary. So I think identifying people that'll support you. Dr. Reysen, Jeremy, y'all do a great job with supporting students, and you have students that by name that come by because they know that they can get a kind word or an encouragement from you. I think that needs to be more and more prevalent. I know our faculty do that, and our administrators, and for students to ask and be courageous in that. I think our campus is doing a good job of that, and y'all are part of that too. So. It's not limited to the space that you occupy. If one of our students comes over to your area and needs some assistance, y'all are always willing, and vice versa. So I think that's the beauty of what we do.
Well, in terms of leadership, I know you are a leader on campus as director of Lucky Day, and also are involved in other leadership opportunities. And you also research this thing called emotional intelligence, which I think is such an interesting area and concept. So tell us a little bit more about emotional intelligence, and also why is this important for leaders to have, but also students?
Yeah. And it's a very good question right now, Rebekah, because I know a lot of times we, depending on where we are in our lives, we're emotional beings, right? We're humans. We have those moments when maybe we're a little more upset or happy, or struggling, where we maybe we keep our emotions inside, and that has an impact, or maybe we express them and that has an impact. And so emotional intelligence, there are a lot of definitions, and there are a lot of researchers that have really done a lot with emotional intelligence, but a lot of it has to do with our behaviors under stress, or when there's emotion involved. And those behaviors are really important, because under stress, our body acts differently and we react differently to certain things. I like to use a lot of sports analogies and examples, because athletes are in a position where they are struggling to compete and emotions are involved really fast. They have to think fast. They have to do things quickly and make decisions under pressure and stress. And that's where emotions become involved. You look at coaches. There's some coaches, and that's what's interesting. Some coaches, they may not have much emotion throughout a game. And there are other coaches that you can think of that seem like they're out on the court playing with the players, right? So, but how we deal with that stress can really make a big difference. I use the example of, a relative of mine that we were driving one day and somebody, there was something happening and they were too close to me or they cut me off somewhere. And he was like, why don't you, do something and go after him? I'm like, well, that person has to go to the hospital because there's someone there they have to get to. And he said, do you know him? I said, no, but why should I assume that person's trying to hit me in a vehicle or do something to me? That's, kind of far-fetched, isn't it? And he said, yeah. And I said, let's assume that they need to get somewhere, and who hasn't made an error driving? Letting your emotions run away, it's not really going to do me any good. It's not going to do that other driver any good to take action there. So managing your emotions, and that takes practice. I mean, I'll find myself in an emotional moment. I'm like, this is not that important. Why should I get upset about this? In college, that's going to happen. You're going to have a professor that gives you a word that may not, or a situation that you may not be happy with. Looking at it from an objective standpoint and approaching it calmly without emotion can really net you a lot of different results. Emails are a good example, and I'm giving you a long answer on this question, but I always like to start an email regardless of the tone or who it's from with, I really appreciate your email before I even address anything, because a lot of times we'll go into an email emotionally, and when you start that tone kind of leads how you go. And then sometimes I'll just call the person or meet with them in person versus an email anyway, especially if there's emotion involved, because I found that emotional emails are about 20 pages long. And who's going to read that? So if you can't make it in about a paragraph or something, it might be worthy of a phone call or in-person visit. But gauging your emotions on that's real important. Happiness the same way. When you think about being happy, you want to celebrate, you want to do something that's exciting when you graduate. I find myself when my sports team wins something, I want to buy that item that has their championship on it. Maybe I should wait because it'll go on sale later, right? So utilizing your emotions to best make decisions. And there are a lot of examples again in sports and in college. Those emotions can really be a determining factor in success and maybe things you struggle with. And it takes practice. It takes years of practice. And it's really important to do that. Understanding how you view yourself as part of it. Do you see yourself accurately? Sometimes we self-deprecate ourselves and in reality, we're doing good things, and to approach it from a positive standpoint. Optimism and positivity is part of emotional intelligence, because those things and the way we feel and approach things can really influence how we get through the day. You can think about this. When you pass someone and they're in a bad mood, or you see someone and you just say, hey, how you doing? Or howdy, or, some kind remark, that might make a big difference in their life, and you making that effort, you can change their emotion and you can change, a lot of things. And it's a simple thing, but if we're a little more thoughtful about it, those emotions and how we express them can be very powerful. And again, it's a long answer, but it's something that, I think plays a big role. How we grieve. I mean, we think about all these different emotions we have and how to do that. It's, we're hesitant sometimes to express emotions, and I'm that way too. I mean, you think about grief and things that are more difficult in life to experience and to express. But I think sometimes expressing those will allow you to move in a positive direction in a lot of ways. But we do it individually, and that's the key. Just identifying, going and ask yourself, is this working for me? That's one of the big things with emotional intelligence. If a situation goes bad or if it goes good, go, okay, how did I approach this and did it work for me? And if it didn't, then okay, is there another approach to it?
Sure. Good points all around. Absolutely. And in terms of the next step, we have some questions about your experiences in college. But before we get there, Is there anything else you'd like to share? Anything else that's on your mind?
No, I just want to, I think, the students that are watching this or whoever's watching this, students, you're inspirational. You're stepping out into something that's the unknown. And I like to talk to students about that when they first get to college, because I have to think back a long time when I entered college, but I think about that first day and I can remember moments on that day when I was like, I don't know anybody here. I don't have any connections here at this place. I'm a stranger in this environment. I'm not from this area. So I really want to salute all of you that are stepping out. You're taking a chance. You're taking a risk. That's what education's about. The researchers that are finding the vaccinations, the doses, and for COVID, the researchers that are looking at cancer, they're experimenting all the time and they're failing a lot, and yet they're keeping at it. Education is about learning. It's about failure. It's about, going through things that you haven't been through before. As I get older, I don't like change. I don't like it. It's something that I don't like. It's hard to do that. You're changing. You're coming to college. You're experiencing something different. You're challenged at a different level academically, socially, in a lot of ways. So I'm excited that you're doing that, because it can be a challenge and there can be ups and downs, but it's something that overall college is really going to brighten your future. It is an access to so much from a global perspective. The things that you have access to in college, the experts that you have in Dr. Reysen's field and Jeremy Roberts' field, you have access to that, and yet you have access to study abroad, to travel across the world. You have access to a lot of things while you're here, meeting people that aren't like you. Really exciting. I mean, it's can open your eyes to great things.
So we do have two questions to get to know you a little bit better. One of them that you were kind of speaking about just a minute ago. But the first one for our lightning round is, if you could paint us a picture of your freshman year of college, what was Patrick Perry like during that time?
Ooh, I had long hair. Uh, and it wasn't silver and gray. I would say I was seeking. I was undecided about my major. One of my first classes that I signed up for was like a career exploration class, and everyone was looking at my transcript like, "Why are you doing that?" I said, "Because I'm really not sure what I'm going to study." And it was really eye opening because we were taking a lot of Myers-Briggs type indicators, some of the things that you do, to learn about me and to figure out where my interest would lie. Interestingly enough, they said like farmer, park ranger, teacher. And it's interesting because, those are areas, and it did kind of come to play in a lot of ways, but I also didn't let that be my guide, but I was kind of exploring and again, I didn't know anybody. So it was really, I kind of thought it was neat because I was like, I can get involved and learn new things. And I was around the same people in high school. And I think that's something that students experience when they get to college, like, oh, I'm around people that aren't from my high school. And that's, it can be really, really great to have that change and how you approach that. So I'd say a year of exploration and learning, and meeting new people. That was it. It took a while, but it was really good.
Okay. And throughout your time, either in college or in higher education, have you had a mentor or a professor who you found to be truly inspirational for you to get you kind of to where you are now?
I've had a lot of influences by um, not only people that worked at the university, but family members that were pioneers. I had an aunt, my godmother actually was in the marketing department at FedEx in the 1970s, and she was moved up in the department a lot. But after a certain point, she was like, "I'm gonna start my own business," and she hired me. I was in college at the time. Before I started working at the university, and she hired me and paid me minimum wage to kind of do office stuff and deliveries. And she was struggling because a lot of times in the business world at that time, and that was back in the mid to late 1980s, early 1990s, there weren't many female CEOs. And I would go and I worked for her, and it was probably the hardest job I ever had. She gave me things to do that were very challenging and expanded my knowledge. And I was amazed going to things, and I would be approached about her, and they go, "How does it feel working for?" And I go, "She is one of the most awesome executives that you will find in business." And I would go in detail and talk about it. And it was a very inspiring time for me, because I was like, yes, we're in a new world, and I'm excited about it. And she inspired me. She worked so hard, and was a kind of behind the scenes a lot of times in terms of the historical significance, but she won all kinds of awards and was on national magazine covers for her industry. And it was really neat to be a part of that. And again, one of the most challenging people to work for, because I was related to, I cared for the person, but I also was a part of that. And so I think that she inspired me to do everything I can to push everyone to where they need to be and where they can go, and provide resources and opportunities. And because again, she was so passionate about it. And she was like, "I'm not going to let obstacles that have been traditional to block me." And I was like, this is pretty, I felt like I was part of something that was really big. And I've been fortunate enough to work for so many different people that have been that way. I've true leader supervisors that were passionate and successful. And I could name many. I've been very lucky doing that, but she was really just the one that I would say. And again, a relative, but I was like, wow, this is just amazing. To this day, I'm just awed by, and went back to get the degree afterwards. I went back and after retiring from everything that they did, went back to get the degree, because that was something that was left unfinished, and wanted to finish that. And that was cool too, because I know a lot of adults go back and finish their degrees. And so that was really, really inspiring. I tried to graduate when my aunt did, but I wasn't able to get there as fast as she did. So.
Well, Dr. Perry, thank you for your time. We do want to plug the residential college, because you do have a dining facility at the bottom that students can come to whenever the university is open in the fall and the spring. And your office being over there, we know you work a lot with students that are in the Lucky Day Residential College, but also across campus, because you've spoken to many of our classes before too. So we appreciate that. But we just thank you for all that you do for students in higher education and for working with professionals in higher education. We look forward to continuing our relationship and academic support with Lucky Day. But that's today's episode of the Chit Chat. We appreciate it. For Rebekah Reysen, I'm Jeremy Roberts, and we will see you all next time. Have a good one. Bye.